Hi, this is Asha Saxena for Intelligent Luxury. Welcome to the show.
And I'm Julie Foppel, Asha's co-host. Welcome. Welcome right back.
You have to stop making me laugh.
I will, because I'm funny.
I
Asha,
know.
that's like my whole, that is what I bring to this whole
Oh my
thing.
God, okay, I know.
You're the brains of the operation, and I am the funny sister.
I know, you really are.
Yeah. When you and I met,
Yes.
we were immediately friends. The more we got to know each other, the more our thinking was so aligned in terms of this being such a pivotal time in both data and technology and everything that you work in, and luxury and kind of lifestyle and everything that is my discipline. We're in Scottsdale, Arizona, and we're in this beautiful facility, and the fact that you came in for an event being hosted by Realm, real estate and technology has not necessarily been something that has gone hand in hand historically, but it's such an act of friendship, and I think what you're seeing is there's so much curiosity around what you're doing and how it is innovating aspects of our lives that we never even anticipated.
Absolutely. But I also have to tell you, the reason I'm doing it because I love you so much. And I think that's what the world needs now. We have AI, we have machines, we have programs, and we have so much data. But what really matters at the end is the relationship. It's the human connection. I'm super excited about this podcast. The audience will enjoy so much because we are going to have fun while doing it.
It's always fun with you, Asha.
Thank you, everyone. And please continue watching because we're going to have guests who come from all around the world and going to talk about luxury in real estate.
We have a lot to look forward to.
Looking forward to it.
Welcome back to another episode of Intelligent Luxury. I am here at the Realm Global Collective with my dear friend and colleague, Sally Daley, who is from Vero Beach, Florida. Sally, welcome.
Welcome. Great to be here. Thanks, Julie. Thanks for having me.
Well, we were just talking as we were getting caught up. You know, you have been a part of Realm and kind of a part of this journey since the beginning. And I think that speaks a lot to kind of how you've approached your career and probably why I'm so excited to talk to you about intelligent luxury.
Yeah. Well, when I first read about Realm being formed in Inman, I was like, okay, that's a good idea, and I want to be part of it.
Do you think, Sally, I mean, something like that, like at the time, you know, it resonated because the timing was great in the industry and you know, things were in flux. I feel like we've still kind of managed that. But I also feel like it's a little bit of how you have built your business in Vero.
100% collaboration, there's no doubt about it. And it's been largely authentic and largely organic. And it's most of it is inbound, but it's also based on collaboration with folks like I've met here at Realm, 100%, because we share the same core values. And in many cases, our clients want the same experience. And so we come from very comparable markets and client bases.
When you say comparable market, I mean, there are a lot of places where they are so much more kind of pretentious and flashy. Mm-hmm. Vero is like the unluxury of luxury.
It's true. It's true. Vero is very quiet. I laugh and say Vero was kind of quiet luxury before quiet luxury was a thing. It's almost like if Marie Kondo could make an island lifestyle, it would be Vero.
So how do you do that? You know, it's something that's very deliberate.
It's very intentional.
You know,
it's
right.
very intentional. Well, part of it started with policy. And so the flex of maintaining it is supported by policy. Some of it is physicality, right? It's physically a barrier island. There's only so much land on the island. It's limited. So Mother Nature helped in that regard, Julie. But smart guys back in the day, 1977, which when you think about Florida, Wild Wild West time, build, baby, build, let's go. They said, no, we don't want to be that. And we want to preserve our heritage for citrus, for agriculture. We want to preserve low density on our island. And we want to create a policy that supports that. So the flex is, it's supported by policy. And everybody has scarcity on their side. And it's very quiet. And it doesn't really need self-promotion because it's very quiet. And it almost is ironic that it becomes magnetic in and of itself.
So that's in its in its silence,
Yes.
it's creating...
The lack of promotion
Yeah.
is promotion.
So how do you do that I mean, we're both real estate people by nature. And so if I could stand on a rooftop and shout about my new listing, I would do it. But
Right.
you can't, but that's something that, you have to kind of let everybody know without letting anybody know. I mean, it is this whole juxtaposition all the time.
It's a dance all the time, isn't it? It really is. And some of it is understanding who your buyer is and where they're going to hail from. But some of it is also saying, okay, who's the right person and what experience are they looking for? I just had an experience of selling a beautiful new home, and I knew the buyer would come from out of area. And some of it is understanding the context of where the buyer's coming from. And this was a beautiful lady, came to town, and she looked at another house in another community with a different kind of philosophy outside of Vero, and she wasn't interested at all. She got out of the car, and I said, that's the buyer. If this house was a person, there she is. Instantly, chatty, engaged, and she said, this is it. It's perfect. How do we buy this house?
Oh my gosh, how fun is that?
But it was after 5 months on the market, Julie. But I was, if you understand your value and understand who your buyer is, it happens.
Sally, I feel like that's one of the things that you do very, very well, is you are this kind of counselor where you can really kind of draw out what people are looking for, you can draw out their motivations, because it's like you just said, it's a dance.
It is a dance.
Every engagement is a dance, every transaction is a dance. How did you get so good at that?
Well, I think some of it started back in when we ran a small marketing agency. So very early on, I needed to understand whether it was Citibank or Hyatt Hotels, who's the client, what's important to them, what kind of media are they consuming, who are their key influencers, and it's really the same principles. And lots of times I just say, how do you like to live? When you're here, how do you like to live? And then I'm just quiet, and people will tell you.
Yeah.
So you kind of reverse engineer it. You have to ask good questions.
That's so important,
Yeah.
And I think it's a little bit of a lost art, because I think a lot of times people are asking questions and then immediately thinking about how they would respond rather than listening.
And then it's marrying what you hear from the client with your nuanced knowledge that ChatGPT or Claude or Zillow's not going to have. Clients the other day were saying, well, this is really important to us. And I said, they were asking about a specific house. And I said, you need to understand those lots are only 110 deep. So if you choose to have a pool, you're not going to have much green space after. Versus X, Y, and Z community is 140, and it doesn't seem like it would make a material difference. When you're standing in the backyard, you will see it and feel it.
It's so amazing. We've done a number of these podcasts, and the word that keeps coming up is nuance.
It's all nuance. Our knowledge is our currency, and that's why I'm confident we're never going to be replaced. Technology is a great assist, 100%. But when you can have ChatGPT helping a buyer support his position and having that same transaction be supported by a seller supporting their position, it's the nuance that makes the difference. What's going on? What's happening in the rest of the neighborhood? Does it support your redevelopment? And on and on.
That's such a good point, because I think there's this, it's almost like a false fear that we create that somehow we're disposable.
Right.
And that's just not the case.
100%. So if we really are good counselors and good advisors, we're in great shape. The people that are transactional in their lives and with their clients, maybe they should be fearful, but that's not how we at Realm operate. We are advisors in the truest sense of the word. I've had 4 or 5 conversations this year with older women running pencil and paper saying, okay, you own your house outright. Do you need the equity? No, I don't, even if you do. There are other ways to tap into it. Let's see the cost of ownership if you stayed and downgraded, and they really would be downgrading perceptually and in their minds. The numbers were basically the same. They're like, I'm not going to sell. I'm like, your roof is fine for another 5 years. Don't sell. That's the right play for you.
Well, and so you just brought up a demographic that is really getting a lot of attention right now, which is women. You know, the other thing that's getting a lot of attention is kind of this generational wealth transfer. How are you adapting to all of that, and how are you kind of accommodating those varying demographics?
Well, we've had a bit of a shift into the markets we're leaning into, but we're also saying we need to understand key influencers, right? In many cases, it's the family and the young and the children that are going to be the heirs. And to try to engage with them before they even think about mom and dad selling. And what I try to say to my sellers is, if you're getting to a different stage in your life, you can't always control what the rest of your life looks like, but you can control when you sell and be more in control. There's nothing so disconcerting for a client than having a life event, and then whatever the market happens to be at that time, you're stuck with. My dad passed away recently, and it was a year ago I got his home sold. His same neighborhood is now down a little bit, and it would make a big difference on the bottom line. So if you're strategic about where you are in your life, and try to retain control, because what nobody likes is the feeling of having no control.
Yeah.
Whether it's heirs saying, okay, now we have the market where it is, or somebody going to assisted living. Be thoughtful about the exit and going in and figure it out so you can try to have as much control as possible. Because when I see clients that are fearful or frustrated or upset, when you try to peel back what it is so you can help them, it's usually a feeling of a lack of control.
And how are you getting to them? How are you kind of compelling them to reach out to you? Or you know, are there some strategies that you're using that maybe look a little bit different than they did 3 or 5 years ago?
We're doing much more digital and much more YouTube. We're doing a lot of long-form YouTube that has been jaw-droppingly successful.
Wow.
In terms of, you know, a mentor of mine a long time ago said, 2 I's, information or invitation. And if you give both freely without any expectation of quid pro quo, it's magnetic and it comes back. And that's what we've been doing. We've made a real shift towards that.
It's interesting though. So is it more, so you're kind of educating the marketplace.
Correct.
And through that, you're creating essentially a greater sphere and more inquiries.
Yes, and more inbound. And I'll say, so, you know, some of them is a tight focus on Vero. Other content goes a broader net. And I'll say, I have a beautiful colleague down in Jupiter, and that's where Realm comes in. And I could say, I can connect you with like-minded people because they come in already trusting. So yeah, educate, and then there's trust built in.
It's okay. So then you just, as we're wrapping up and kind of heading into our last phase of these questions, Sally, you just kind of brought up a perfect segue. When you think about the future and kind of trust becoming a luxury, how do we accommodate that?
I think it needs to be giving of knowledge to establish trust. If you can say, I see you looked at X house, instead of wanting to go see it, if you say, tell me what you liked about that house. The example about the backyard. And you could show nuanced knowledge that gives value to working with you. That's the start. And you're giving without any expectation of quid pro quo. It's not transactional. It's advisory.
You just said a mouthful because it really is. There's so much more integrity.
100%. And it's knowledge that is the compound effect of time and being embedded in the market and how you approach your business.
I mean, I think about, you know, as the definition of luxury has changed, and we've talked a lot about that. You know, it used to be you could tell somebody was luxury by their handbag or their shoes or whatever, and then you're like, and then knockoff handbags got to the place where you couldn't really tell them apart.
Yeah, right.
And then I started to think, you know, social media is a little bit of the knockoff handbag of this next generation.
Yeah.
Right? Where you're like, is that your Ferrari or is that you're just standing in front of a Ferrari?
Well, you know, and it's a Coke and Pepsi world, Julie. Plenty of people that I like and respect do a great job of watch me put my makeup on for the day, and I'm also a realtor. That is just not me. I'm like Encyclopedia Brown, the little barcoda, whatever you want to call me. That's, and as long as you're authentic to what you are, it works, but you just need to figure out what you are and be authentic in it. Because then it resonates with people, and you're going to naturally attract the right kinds of people to work with you.
Well, so Sally, you have been so great about kind of seeing around the corners and being able to, kind of steer your business to make sure that you're kind of staying ahead of whatever is next. What do you think is next coming out of this era of change and kind of disruption in so many different facets, whether it's real estate or technology or luxury? Where do you think things are headed, and how are you guiding your business?
Well, I think it's going to be real estate without borders, for sure. I want an advisor that can help me connect to Julie and Matt in Jackson Hole. I want an advisor that can help me get a place in the south of France. I want an advisor. And I think what's going to happen is it's going to be compressed, where there's going to be a cohort of advisors that succeed in that, and we are all going to thrive. I think there's going to be pressure on traditional brokerages. I think the agency is the important decision clients are making, and brokerage, even though they don't want to think it's true, I think are becoming less important, and people want Julie Fopple or Sally Daley. And I think that's where it's going. And it's really important to understand what people are looking for and to conduct our businesses in the way the consumers search. Now, the cycle between investigation and that short list, consumers are coming to us with that short list. What are you doing to make sure your properties are preceded and on the short list?
Yeah.
Don't just put the floor plan in supplements. Make sure that floor plan is one of your images. Understand how the consumers are searching, and you'll be fine.
Well, Sally, it is such a pleasure. You are a professional that I respect and that I just absolutely adore working with. And so thank you for joining me, and thank you for joining us on this episode of Intelligent Luxury. I'm Julie Fopple, and we'll see you next time.